Joseph Rosenberg in Twin Oaks, Levittown. Mowing customer, scope of work. It's going to be red mulch install, bed cleanup, a little bit of trimming and pruning, and a light yard cleanup of just some of the leaves out back. Starting in the front here, so walk with the husband. Wife wasn't home. Sounds like the wife's more into it all, so if she's here, ideally try to check in with her, check out with her. But basically just mulch and salt, typical stuff. In the front here, there's a lot of growth, so I wouldn't go crazy with any type of really weed whacking or string trimming of anything. I would really just like rake the beds, get some of the old mulch out, and then you have a lot of like dead and dormant stuff and some leaves that you can rake out. So like, for example, all this dead stuff here, kind of just rake it out really good, get rid of it. But I don't see a ton of weeds in the front to really deal with, and because they have so much growth, I would be very cautious about pulling anything out. Like something that's maybe obvious like that being a weed, but some of the other stuff, like even that, I would just leave it because I think most of it is intentional. There's a little bit of small, funky clover weeds here, but outside of that, I would just rake it really good, rake out some of the old mulch, clean it up. No trimming really out here in the front. I'll walk to the back, there's some trimming, but just give it a good rake out, clean up. A lot of over here, there's mostly like the dormant and dead stuff, and then a bunch of leaves to just rake out and clean up. So just mulch install out here, and then walk into the back. Side note too, I'll put on there, he requested a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday for the work to get completed because he works overnight. So ideally not Tuesday or Thursday. That's when he sleeps, he said. All right, and then back here, so he also just asked if we can clean up the leaves. There's just a couple piles here. There's some in a trash can here. And then he's kind of got it lined up along the house here. He said he'll move whatever we need to get it cleaned up. But I'll put that as a line item, as a yard cleanup. I'm sure he'll accept. A couple leaves here. And then there's a little bit of leaves back there on his like patio area. He said, again, he'll move whatever if we can just get the leaves out of there. So that's another portion of the job. Next one I'll put is tree trimming. So he basically just asked that we trim some of these branches that are coming from the neighbor. If we can just cut along the fence line, basically, the stuff that's coming into his yard. I told him we can get 12 foot and below. So just with the, between the ladder or even the extender pole if it really wanted, just snip some of that stuff. Again, I told him we can't get real high, but some of the low stuff we can take care of for him. Some of this is getting real low. It almost hit you when you're on your mower. Little bit of leaves back here to clean up as well. And then getting into the mulch back here. So this is where there's a pretty good amount of bed prep cleanup going on. Ideally, we try to get out soon because you can easily tell what's green in a plant and what is a weed, because the weeds are all brown and dead, and everything grown in has color, so it's easy to kind of separate the two. But anyway, starting here, really just dig out and rake out everything in this bed. It's actually some grass starting to grow in there, it looks like. So rake that out. He said he'll move all these pots and stuff for us, move everything out of the way here. A lot of leaves in here to clean out. Not too many weeds per se here, but anything that is a weed, like I said, it's like dead. So rake out these really good, bring in some fresh mulch. As far as trimming, so got these butterfly bushes. So just lightly trim this. It's starting to get into the yard. Just kind of give it like a round shape. Probably want the 8-foot ladder with the extension trimmer to kind of really get it. It's probably about 10 feet high total. And then this one over here, so just really trim it because it's starting to get onto the fence and into the neighbor. So really trim that back, trim a little bit over here, and then a touch off the top. So just trim that up. And then, bed prep. You got raking out of the beds. There's some leaves. There's some dead stuff to cut back. This is a weed that's growing on this like heart thing here. So you can totally rip that out. Again, judgment is most of the things that are plants are green. So you got a bunch of lilies growing in. And then everything that's like brown, you can pretty much just rip out. Lightly prune and shape this. Rake out these beds, prep. The rose bushes here, leave them alone, don't even touch them. This bush you can lightly prune and shape a little bit. Bed prep. And then over here is where it kind of gets bad with the weeds. But the weeds are like dead. So he asked if we can try to get it at the root the best as possible, because he said it's just coming back really bad if we don't get it at the root. So I would avoid going in here with any type of a string trimmer initially. Try to come in and like really pull everything at the root the best you can. Try to really get it out so to minimize it coming back too aggressively. And then after you pull it at the root the best you can, if you can, then I would say like go in there with a metal rake and kind of turn over the soil a little bit to try to bust out any roots. And then, like I said, the only things that you gotta watch out for, basically green stuff. There's a green plant in there. You got a plant back there. You know, we got a green plant in here. Watch out for. It's actually a red plant coming up here. And then like all the lilies, like the great green, you can just leave it alone. But most of the weeds are dead and dormant at this point, so you can just clear them out. And then that's it all here. And then the last thing would be this bush. If you can just trim this side just a little bit to keep it off of his house and away from it, and that will be it for this one.